So I will start off with three key recommendations for urgent response from the Australian government. The first one is formally recognising and condemning the dramatic escalation of violence against the Hazara people in Afghanistan. Secondly, convening an emergency roundtable with the Australian Hazara community to hear about the grave concerns that the Australian Hazara community hold for their family members and relatives in Australia. Number three, and the final one, the final for today that is, committing to 20,000 emergency additional humanitarian intake from Afghanistan, focusing on at-risk groups such as Hazara people and granting permanent protection to Hazara refugees currently on temporary protection visas. With these recommendations, it becomes integral to provide some background. Hazara people have long been the target of sectarian violence, systematic discrimination and persecution in Afghanistan, and have never known safety whilst the Taliban have reigned. The systematic discrimination, violence, mass killings of Hazara people began in 1890s under the reign of King of Afghanistan, Amir Abdul Rahman Khan. Under Abdul Rahman Khan's reign, Hazaras faced systematic violence, mass killings, rapes and sexual violence, looting and forced conversions, and forcibly displaced out of their ancestral lands. The systematic discrimination, violence and killing of Hazara people have been a consistent theme in Afghanistan's history since the time of Abdul Rahman Khan and continues to this day. Since the Taliban's return to power in August last year, 2021, we have witnessed a worrying and dramatic escalation of violence against Hazara people in Australia. Hazara people in Afghanistan, including at educational institutions, places of worship, hospitals, sporting facilities, maternity wards, public gatherings, highways, wedding halls and venues, and schools. Increasingly, these attacks have targeted Hazara youth. These enduring, systematic and discriminatory attacks are evidence of continued genocidal violence against Hazara people in Afghanistan. Clear examples of such escalating violence that we have seen today include the most recent terrorist attack on the Kaj Academic Learning Centre. A bombing killed 31 worshippers and injured 87 people from the Hazara ethnic group at a Shia mosque in Mazar-e-Sharif in April this year. And later, bombings in October last year killing at least 100 Hazara worshippers. The worrying trend of systematic and discriminatory violence against Hazara people are evidence that the genocidal violence that Hazara people face in Afghanistan under the Taliban regime is likely to continue. The world, and in particular the Australian government, must recognise the rapidly escalating genocidal violence faced by Hazara people in Afghanistan and recognise its moral obligation to respond to the escalation of violence experienced by Hazara people. Due to the persistent systematic discrimination, violence and killings experienced by Hazara people in Afghanistan, there are currently an estimated 71,000 Hazara people that call Australia home, like you and I. Many of them are citizens and contributing to Australia's social, cultural and economic growth in places such as Dandenong and Shepparton in Victoria, Adelaide in South Australia, Western Sydney, Griffith and Leeton in New South Wales, Ipswich and Brisbane in Queensland and right across the country. Hazara people in Australia are deeply connected with the plight of Hazara people in Afghanistan through familial relations and community links. As such, every single attack on Hazara people in Afghanistan is felt, and it directly impacts the Australian Hazara community deeply. Thank you.